New year, new me, new ring, and I got bangs. What an incredible year to start off. I can't wait to share with you guys my engagement proposal. One of you guys mentioned that I should do a story time and applying makeup. So this is what I look like for my proposal. I actually did a quick reels on Instagram and posted that maybe a week ago. This is like the exact same look to the T. The only difference is I had to tuck my bangs because the engagement was at a beach and I knew there was no way my current bangs were going to stay in place. There was no way. So to help the photographer and help me out, I was like, you know what, let me tuck them back and not have to worry about them. I guess we'll just get into it and tell you guys how my dog surprised me at my engagement proposal. I don't even know where to begin with this story. I guess we'll start from the very beginning. So you probably noticed on my channel, I really don't talk about too many personal things. I'm pretty private as far as like my relationship and my family. I'll talk like a little bit here, a little bit there. If you watch every single video, then you can piece everything together, but there isn't a dedicated video or multiple videos where I talk about my personal life. I've been dating Anthony since my freshman year of college. At that time, Anthony was a senior. We both ended up graduating a year early. We met each other in North Miami at Johnson Wales University. They have multiple campuses, and unfortunately during the pandemic, that campus closed down, but the other campuses are still running, I believe. So we met there. I always had plans to go back to New York. I'm from Long Island. I was raised here. I knew I wanted to go back to my mom and just be closer to her. My mom is a single parent and it's just me and her for the most part. So it's really important that I come back to New York, and those were my dreams and my goals, to live in the city for at least a little bit. So I did that. Anthony and I ended up taking a break because he really wanted to go to Vegas. That's where he was born and raised. He wanted to do his own thing. He then realized he made a really bad decision, came back to Florida, and then, I don't know, not even a week, and then came to New York. I think he was just really scared of New York and so many changes going on. But here's the thing, guys. I had a plan and he did not. See what I mean? Like, I had steps on what I want to do and how I'm going to get there, where Anthony was kind of just going with the flow at that time. So we've been together for now just a little over 9 years. We thought in 2022 is going to be our 10 year. My mom also thought it was our 10 year as well, and she has a better memory. And we only then realized that it wasn't is when we went to my friend's wedding in June. And then I was like, wait a minute, if they are 8, then we have to be 9, because they started dating just a few months after us. So that's kind of our relationships. We had our highs and lows. Ever since that breakup, we've been together ever since. So what I wore for the engagement photo shoot, I started with the e.l.f. Halo Glow. I feel like this has been just my go-to product to use on my face, whether I'm wearing makeup or just want something to even out the skin. This is a great product. Last September, so this is 2022 we're talking about, we decided to actually look at rings. I was in a mind space where I could actually start thinking about a wedding and help plan and all of that, because prior to that, I really wasn't in the mind space, not mentally, specifically mentally, because I was really going through it when my mom got sick towards the end of 2018. And then it was doing all of that, selling my childhood house, renovating. I had like a little cottage, decided to keep that, moving my mom multiple times, the pandemic, it was just one after the next, breaking my lease in the city. I just couldn't catch a break until 2022 and like 2021. So just in a better mindset and just not as stressed. Like, I was just stressed, but they were like big stresses, you know? So we started looking at rings. This is what my ring looks like for anyone who doesn't follow me on Instagram. So funny story about this ring is I was contemplating if I should use my grandmother's ring, because I still have that. That was an option. I think her ring is silver if I'm not mistaken, and I prefer gold. But that was definitely an option. My mom gave me that. And then I think at some point Anthony's mom brought up the idea of her ring. They're not the very best with their follow through. I really wasn't thinking that I would be wearing her ring. Anthony found a website where they make rings online. I didn't go to any physical stores. Actually, wait, I did go to one in the city because there was this celestial ring that was really pretty, unique. It was flat, which is very different, but I was worried that I was going to get sick of it. I'll have it right here. It's still really pretty. I just ended up changing my mind, but at least I figured out my ring size. I am a 4 3/4, which, if you don't know, that is tiny. That is custom size. Most places don't even offer that size, and in fact, This ring, which is that size, is actually a bit loose, and I think I'm more of a 4.5, but we'll get more into that. So I found a place online. It was really important that I wanted a lab grown ring, so not an actual diamond, because ethically I really wasn't for it, and I didn't want to wear something that there was a chance that kids were mining it and just doing it in a very unethical way. So to me, lab grown was more ethical and overall more sustainable. So that was that. I will have the website linked down below if you're interested. The funny story is Anthony designed the ring, then he sent me the website, and then I designed the ring, and we both came together and it was the exact same ring to the T. Now, I didn't give him any details of what I wanted besides gold. I wanted round or maybe oval. I really wasn't sure. Keep in mind, I was not that girl growing up thinking about my wedding day or anything like that. That just has never been me until more recently. It was just so funny that we came together with the exact same design, because I am someone where you can't really surprise me on that. I really should be a part of it. If he totally did surprise me, he would have aced it completely. So then the ring arrived pretty quickly. I want to say in less than 2 weeks. And I tried it on, it fit well, no problems. I was like, great. No changes. The engagement was a surprise to an extent. I knew it was going to happen in Florida, so we always do a Florida trip in December since his family lives there and they're from there, and I knew what day. Before I continue the story, just gonna add some foundation. This is the Jason Wu one. So I'm not really thinking about the engagement until a day or two before I leave for Florida, and that's because I'm traveling by myself. And this started to make me really anxious because I get harassed a lot when I travel, specifically when I travel specifically at the airports. It's crazy. It's how guys will just come up to me and harass me and just be sexist and racist. And it happens all the time, but especially when traveling, it gets really rough for me. So this time I was really nervous because it happens to me when I'm alone. It still happens to me when I'm with him, just a little less. And then everything that happened during the pandemic, I was just really anxious. I made it safely, had no problems. It was so nice that I didn't have to take off my shoes at JFK. I'm hoping that's the case for all airports, but that definitely wasn't the case in 2021 when I traveled to Tennessee and Vegas. The reason why I traveled by myself because Anthony had to do a few things. And for someone like me, I'm very nosy and I like to know what's going on. I'm a planner, but this time I really tried not to be involved, try not to ask too many questions. Of course I did when it was the day of and I got to the hotel. From September until December, I really didn't because I was just busy doing other things and I just had other things on my mind. I really let Anthony just lead the way and plan everything, which he doesn't typically do that. We do that together and we do it pretty evenly. It's not just me doing all of it because I wouldn't like that in a relationship. I get to Fort Lauderdale. My Lyft driver ends up taking forever to get to me. I was like, oh no. I was getting a little nervous, but it ended up working out just fine and the hotel was pretty close to the airport. And then it was really chill. It felt a little weird not having Anthony with me because we always travel together. Before we moved to New York, I traveled alone a lot when I would go back home for the holidays, you know, when I was in college. Even before that, even before Anthony, I went to Hawaii by myself, China by myself. I did a lot of traveling by myself. It was more so because of the pandemic and everything that happened during that I was just really nervous. It went pretty smoothly. So I'm just waiting. I know Anthony's coming the next day. I'm just kind of chilling, enjoying the hotel because usually we don't stay at a hotel because we save money and we'll stay at his parents' house. And because we're in Florida for typically a week, but it was nice to be so close to the beach. I didn't get to go in the pool. I'm so glad that we got to enjoy the warmer weather because the later half of the week it got cooler. For me, it was perfect fall weather, but for the Floridians, it was probably very cold for them. Then the next day comes and I'm like, okay, Anthony's going to get here. I'm watching One Tree Hill, enjoying it when I probably should have been editing a video. But I was doing that and just kind of enjoying staying at the hotel, enjoy being on vacation because usually it doesn't feel like a vacation being in Florida. So just enjoying my time there. He starts pushing the time back a little bit. So I'm like getting a bit concerned. He gets back and he's just telling me about things. I'm not really thinking much of anything. I'm like, oh, it just took him longer. I knew he went to his parents' house to get the car, so we didn't have to rent a car. When he got to the hotel, it was already quite late. We were gonna go out, but I could tell he was really tired. I didn't really want to go out because it was pouring raining that night, so we just stayed in, got some takeout, kept it really chill. And then the following morning, the day of the engagement photo shoot, I knew we were having something at the beach. How we dressed was planned, but it wasn't planned in the sense that it cohesively went together with the actual photo shoot. I just planned it like, okay, this is a beach photo shoot, so I'm thinking of the colors in that sense, but it turned out really great. I'm getting dressed, doing my makeup how I am doing it today. Things are going well, not having to rush. Early that morning, I did have to go to CVS and get a few things. So I got curtain bangs right before the trip. But these curtain bangs are a bit different since the last time I got them done, which was, what, 2 years ago? I did it a bit differently. I went heavier and I went shorter. I was realizing that the night before, I was like, wait a minute, we're gonna be at a beach, so most likely windy. You're also in Florida, so it's humid. So I was like, bangs are just not gonna work, especially curtain bangs. You're just gonna move around too much and I'm just gonna get really frustrated with them throughout the photo shoot. So I decided to pin them back, do more of a sleek look just to keep the bangs down and not have to worry about them, which is why we had to go to CVS early that morning and get some products because I didn't bring them with me ahead of time. So I had to get some sort of pomade, some hairspray, and that's the hair look that I did, and then with some larger curls just like this. And then I also painted my nails. I was contemplating like, should I do it, shouldn't I do it, and then I decided to do it that morning. I always do that. I can't help but paint my nails so last minute. I'm getting dressed, doing everything. I didn't get to eat all that much because we had to be at the beach, I think at 10 o'clock. So we get there, we parked, my eyes are closed. If you saw my reels, then you kind of know what I'm talking about. And then I open my eyes and I say, oh my gosh, that's so cute. Is this for us? It's a picnic with florals everywhere. It's everything that I've wanted. So I've been following a couple of picnic companies these last few years. They've gotten really popular because of the pandemic and just the whole social distancing. I think it's just aesthetically beautiful and there's just different ways you can go about it. So Anthony knew I really want to do that sometime in the future, maybe if we have like, I don't know, some sort of party or gathering, but I always wanted to do that. I took my pictures, my videos, then the photographer comes, Haley. If you need a photographer in South Florida, definitely check her out. I will have her Instagram linked down below and also the other women-owned small businesses. So then Anthony says, I have one last surprise, close your eyes. I'm closing my eyes thinking like, what could this be? Is someone just gonna appear out of nowhere? And I open my eyes and Boo, my dog, just like shows up and I'm like, what the heck? You can see in the photos that I'm so shocked that I'm confused and I don't have any words to say because I see her and then I see Anthony's parents. I'm like, okay, Boo is with Anthony's parents. But then I'm like, is someone else gonna show up? Is my other dog Bungie gonna show up with our trainer? Like, I just had no idea. I was so surprised. And then Anthony says, look at Boo's collar. So I'm trying to look at Boo's collar, but she's very hairy, so it's kind of hard to get to it, and she's moving around because there's a lot of smells. And if you guys don't know, she loves water, she loves the beach, so she wanted to go towards the water. So I'm trying to figure that out. I get to it and it says, Mommy, will you marry Daddy? Love, Boo and Bungie. So that was kind of a way to have Bungie be a part of it, even though she couldn't physically be there. After I read that, Anthony's like, could you stand up? Because I turn around and he has the ring box and everything, and I was like, oh right. And then like standing up, and then he says his little spiel, and that is how he proposed to me. It was really sweet. The biggest surprise is that he brought Boo and that he drove from New York to Florida. Well, I'm just like flying, chilling at the hotel, going to the beach, taking it easy. He's driving down. So on his end of the story, let's go into that. He's the one that drove me to the airport, and for us, we have to go into the city, at least to go to the Fort Lauderdale airport. We have to go to the JFK airport. So he drops me off. He comes back. We also have to bring Boo's crate. We have to drop Bungie off at her trainers. He drops Bungie off at our trainers. Then he comes back. He goes to our friend in the city, picks him up. There's a lot of driving already going on before the actual road trip. Our friend ended up helping Anthony drive all the way down to bring Boo because he wouldn't have been able to do that by himself. And Anthony's just buttering me up, getting me excited because our plans were to bring Boo and Bungie next year and we would do the road trip together. At the time, no one has really met Boo and Bungie, just his parents. So I was really looking forward to that, and of course I was incredibly nervous because neither of them have done a long road trip like that. They've done smaller trips. They're in the car almost every other day because of daycare and then just traveling to my little cottage on the North Fork. They are used to being in the car just for not that long. So I was shocked that she did such a great job. Like, I was surprised, but I wasn't surprised type of thing. And I got to really see it because we ended up having to drive back, of course, because we had a car with us. And that was a whole other thing. They ended up going somewhere to eat because Anthony felt bad, like, for his friend to drive all the way down and not really explore Fort Lauderdale and have to just take a flight right back up. They ended up going to one of my personal favorite restaurants. I love a good raw bar, specifically like Cajun and shrimp, which now makes sense why Anthony was running even more late. So that happened. He left Boo with his parents, and I understand why he was incredibly stressed because there were so many things going on, but the Boo aspect really just made it more stressful because you're leaving a dog with people that, although they've met each other, the way we raise our dogs is very different from the normal person. We have strict rules. We don't allow them to eat food. We don't allow them to climb on people, climb on things, and his parents are like the complete opposite. So he had to leave her little baby with them. It ended up being fine. It was just a surprise, but not a surprise. Aspects of it was, aspects of it wasn't. The whole picnic part was a shocker. Anthony mentioned that the photographer was going to bring a backdrop, and I'm just like, a backdrop? Why would a photographer bring a backdrop to a beach? Like, that doesn't make any sense. And also when it's like windy, a backdrop would be moving. That's when I started really being like, things don't make any sense. And he wasn't supposed to propose at the beach. It was just going to be a photo shoot because he wanted photos of us at the beach. I was very against it because, again, the beach and my hair, they don't go well together. You can see in the photos how my hair is more poofy. It's not as wavy like this. It was at first. The bangs stayed put. I'm so glad. So my hair wasn't that bad. It just was a little more poofy and not as nicely defined as this. And then he said we'll do the proposal later that day, but he's like, but we can still go to the pool in between. And I'm like, well, if I'm getting dressed for the photo shoot in the morning and then I go in the pool, I'll have to take my makeup off and like do everything all over again and take a shower and then to get dressed again. So that's when I was like, things are not really making sense, at least that part. Anthony had that planned out for a couple months. He really did a great job. To do that all by yourself with the planning, the execution, and only having a little bit of help, he did a really great job as far as like finding a photographer, finding just all of it. We didn't know anybody in South Florida that could do those things. I only knew people in New York. And the flowers were the perfect touch. If you want to do something like that with that many flowers, you do have to pay an additional price. So just kind of keep that in mind because he didn't know that at first. But that kind of gives you a glimpse of what we want to do because we definitely want to have a garden wedding, which if you know me, that shouldn't surprise you. I love English cottage gardens, which is what I'm doing at my beach house. And I love going to botanical gardens. I just love visiting gardens, estates. It's very peaceful. I love smelling the flowers, even if I can't smell them. After Anthony's parents took Boo away, so we took some photos with her. We took our pictures and they look so good. I'll have some right here. You check my Instagram, there's more up there. And after Haley was done, we got to enjoy the food and just the scenery and each other. And Anthony was so tired. And now I understood why he fell asleep so quickly last night and why he could just finally take a breath. He was on such a high that he really didn't eat much of the charcuterie. It was mainly me. And then we brought the rest home. And then we ended up bringing the flowers home with us as well because we didn't want to waste them. Anthony spent a lot of money. I was like, yeah, let's just bring them home. We'll put them in a bunch of different vases. If we could have brought them to New York or it was just closer, I definitely would have done that. If you're curious, I'm wearing this eyeshadow on the eyelids. Trying to think what else am I missing from the story. I think that's it. Now that we had Boo, we kind of had to do everything with Boo. So we brought her to all the restaurants we went to. We met up with friends. Like I said earlier, we went to school there, so we knew some people. Anthony's coworker lives in Miami, so we saw him. Anthony knew I wasn't going to be looking forward to driving back, especially since I had no idea that was going to be happening. So he kind of had to make it up to me, and I got to see one of my college friends who lives in Tampa with her husband, and I haven't seen her since she came to visit me in the city. So we got to catch up with her. That was really nice. The trip home was about a day. You guys probably don't know this about me, is I don't really enjoy driving as far as long trips because I get very tired easily. I fall asleep in the car easily. I'm not good at staying awake when someone's driving. I just can't help it. There's something about the sounds and just the motion of the car that makes me fall asleep very easily. It works really well when you're a child, but as an adult, it's not the most helpful. I will say I was able to drive a third of the trip, and for me, that's really good because usually I can only do maybe a couple of hours. But you have to do it strategically with me. I drive better in the morning. It could be early morning. I don't mind that. But once I'm up, I'm up. So I did all the driving in the morning until noon. And then I did the driving like maybe a couple of hours before we got back to New York. I'm glad we have pictures and videos. I feel like videos are more of a thing now because of social media. I've been learning people are hiring not like a videographer for the wedding because that's like separate, but someone to specifically film content, which I'm looking into doing that as well. I'm glad Haley was able to get some video clips, and I'm glad that I was able to get some video clips as well. Can I just say Boo did such a fantastic job in the car there and back. She was just chilling in the back, sleeping. I thought she would be, I don't know, a little more playful, just more irritable, but she wasn't. She was so good. I couldn't have asked for a better experience. And then one day we will do Bungie and Boo together. The reason why we only did one dog is because it's already hard enough to drive one dog down the coast, and then to do two and to really just be on your own, that's just way too hard. And because of all of our plans, it would have made it more complicated. But there was a second when I was closing my eyes trying to figure out who was going to just appear or what was going to appear. For a second I thought it was going to be my mom, and if it was my mom I would have been really shocked because I can't even get her to move that much or just like to come to the beach house. I would have cried if it was her. Who's gonna pop out? Like, I don't know what else Anthony can do. Going in with brown liner. This is not the same one that I used. I used the NYX Tractable one, but it was at the very end of it, so you guys know, but I definitely wanted to use a long-lasting brown liner. I'm trying to think, is there anything else? I kind of talked about the ring very quickly. I ended up doing, I forgot what this design is called, but there's little diamonds on the actual band, and it looks like there's two bands kind of twisted. I did that on purpose because I'm not going to do a traditional wedding band. It's already hard enough to wear one ring, and wearing two, it's just not me. I did a few things off camera just to speed things up. Filled in my brows with the M Cosmetics liner. I did the mascara, Maybelline Sky High and waterproof, and then I put on my favorite fake lashes and then cut them in half per usual. So now let's move on to the highlighter. This has been my go-to from Tilbury. I'm still the tiniest bit sick. I think I got sick from doing that road trip or seeing a ton of people. One of the two. Maybe the combination of both of them. But it's so nice to see so many people. Such a short trip. For lips, very important. My favorite one, Cosmetics Soft Lips in Teddy. It's everything that happened. It felt like it just happened, but it was almost, what, like 2 weeks ago? Now that we're already planning for the wedding, which I kind of want to do a series on my channel. I don't know exactly what, maybe the process of planning, or I don't know, my ideas. I'm not exactly sure, but we pretty much did our guest list. The guest list was really easy. People say the guest list is really hard. I think it was easy for us because just a month ago we did our list for our holiday cards. Last year we kind of tested it out, and then for 2022 is when we're like, okay, this is our actual list for our holiday card. and it ended up being about 50. So then you kind of times that by 2. And since we're doing no kids, and then we added a few more, I think we're gonna have maybe around 115. As far as inviting, my guess is probably maybe 75 people are gonna come. I really don't know. That was super easy, and I come from a really small family. So I'm an only child, my mom's an only child, so that already makes it quite small. And then we already booked our save the date photographer. We're doing that very soon. I kind of want to do a video about that. Maybe like prepping for it or kind of coming up with the ideas or like outfit choices. I don't know, something like that, because I'm already in the process of doing that and having to go and buy some stuff. So for my actual lipstick, this one blew up on TikTok and it was really hard to find. I ended up getting it at CVS when I got the hair products. This is the Revlon, I don't know what it's called, like Lustrous Shine. It's in Rum Raisin. It's supposed to look beautiful on everyone, which I think it does. I think it appears a little bit darker on me. You guys tell me. Last step, setting spray. This might be the last time I'll be using this because there's so little. I purposely, when I travel, I will either bring travel size or things where I'm almost done with it. So then I could just like throw it out. And this is the e.l.f. Stay All Night Blue Light Setting Spray. And this is what I look like for my engagement proposal. I'm just gonna add a little bit of perfume. This is what I actually wore. St. Rose sent me this. This is their Juliet in white. That they sent me just a little one because it's nice and travel friendly. And then the necklace, oh, so pearl necklace. Anthony got this for me either my 19th birthday, that Christmas, or our first, or maybe our anniversary. It's one of those. They're all in December and they're all a week apart from one another. So yeah. And then the dress, this happened last minute because Anthony's like, oh, you need to pick out my outfit and yours. And I'm like, oh, and I only had a week. So I ended up getting this dress from Zara. Typically, I don't like to wear tight dresses. The only reason why I went for this because I love how it's kind of like a mesh. It's soft. I love the drapery. The halter was a bit different from what I would typically go for, and I just love the drapes and the gathering that goes on. That's like the only way I'll wear something fitted, if there's some sort of shaping to it. And then I knew I could wear this dress again for something else. That's it. I can't believe I'm engaged. I can't believe I'm a fiance. It's so weird saying that. It makes me sound old. Saying boyfriend or girlfriend just makes it sound more young, you know? But I'm excited for this next chapter. I'm excited for the new year. Happy New Year's, guys. And the next video you guys will see will be Best of Beauty. I was supposed to film that and then I got sick and then everything happened. So that will be the next video you guys see. If you enjoyed this story time, if you want to just see more wedding content from me, like this video, subscribe to this channel for more fashion and beauty, and I will see you in another one. Bye!